So, if you've been watching this channel, you'll know that I am a man with many fancy controllers. Some of these are the same price or even cheaper than your standard controllers for various systems. Others are noticeably more expensive. But which ones have actually been worth the money? Which ones have I actually used enough to justify the price I paid? And obviously, that question means a lot more on the expensive end of controllers versus the cheaper end. So starting with your professional controllers, the Elite Series 2, and of course the DualSense Edge, these both cost right around $200. I think they might be called professional just because of the price tag. You need to be a professional in order to afford these. But having said that, I think these are actually worth it, as both of these have become my go-to controllers for their respective systems. As in both cases, these are of higher quality than their basic counterparts, and have features that once you get used to, are hard to do without. So in the case of both of these, I absolutely do not regret having spent money on them. But of course these controllers, while fancy and expensive, are not specialized for anything, so can of course be used on virtually any game. So what about controllers that are a little more specialized? Well, I've never been one for racing wheels, but I do have a bit of a weakness for arcade sticks. And as much as I'd like to say that all of these were a great investment, for me personally they haven't been. The worst offender in terms of sticks I own has to be the Hori Fight Stick Alpha. It is a great stick to play fighting games with, but I also like to use these sticks to play old arcade games. And for whatever reason, this will not work with the vast majority of those. So to me personally, this stick is $200 worth of buyer's remorse. I would have much the same feelings about this Titan joystick by Kanba? I don't know how you pronounce it. But this one I received as a gift, so I don't have anything bad to say about it because I didn't pay for it. I received it as a gift. This one at least doesn't suffer from any compatibility issues. The problem is I just don't own a lot of fighting or classic arcade games for the PlayStation 4 or 5. So, hypothetically, if my library looked a little different, this one would potentially be worth what it costs. But as is, it looks very nice sitting on a shelf, and at least it didn't cost me any money. Now the arcade stick I actually do get the most use out of is the Mayflash F500 Elite. This was only about $150. It has compatibility with a lot of different systems by plugging an official controller into it, which yes, is a little annoying, but it is nice to have that flexibility. But this is my go-to stick when I'm on the Xbox or on the PC. I understand there are plug-in devices for this that make it so you don't need to tether an official controller into it, and I'm honestly considering investing in some of those, because this is the stick I use the most. I'd say overall that this stick has been pretty much worth it, as it is somewhat cheaper than a lot of sticks. And it does have compatibility with an asterisk next to it. There is one more stick I want to talk about here, and that's the 8BidDo arcade stick for the Switch. This one is what kicked off my interest in modern arcade sticks, and is considerably cheaper than a lot of them, being only $80 to $90 depending where you go. And when I first got this, I was very enamored with it, not least of which because of its style. But after only a couple of months of owning it, the lever on it started having some issues, and I am not someone that's rough with their controllers and sticks. And I have several cheaper sticks that I've used much more heavily than this that don't have any issues. So I can't help but feel the issue here is the actual quality of this product. And I gave it a very positive review once upon a time, but now I would not do the same. I do not recommend spending any money on the 8BidDo arcade stick, and thus thoroughly regret having spent money myself. Other than these, most of the aftermarket controllers I own are in fact cheaper than their official counterparts. So, with the sole exception of PowerA products, I would say these are by and large worth it. Like for example, virtually every other 8BidDo controller I own. All of them have held up well and are cheaper than official options. Had some good luck with some PDP controllers. But every single one from Power A I own stopped working or had major issues within a month. So, there are my thoughts on the various controllers in my collection and if they were worth it. Short answer, pro controllers yes. More specialized controllers, not so much.